Happy Monday, all you mentees. Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And today we finally get to show off our haul from HeroesCon 2022. So, stay tuned. And welcome back, everybody. So, we had a blast at HeroesCon. We got to meet so many of our viewers. We got to talk to so many creators. And we also did a little bit of shopping. I didn't get to do as much as I wanted to, but the Astonishing Melanie did, and that's what we're going to be showing today. Well, me. She's busy with schoolwork. So, I'm going to be talking about some of the things that we picked up at HeroesCon, and some of the prices that we saw over there whenever you go to conventions. So, let's go ahead and get started. We'll be looking at those two statues in the back that are completely gorgeous and completely different. Sort of. So this was a gift from our buddy Josh Greathouse for Melanie. This is the Marvel Gallery comic Emma Frost PVC statue. This was only available through Previews World, so Diamond Comics, whenever they would do exclusive, what were they called? The Marvel Select or Marvel Gallery, and then they would also do some DC statues and toys that were exclusive through their website. But it is Emma Frost. I think there is a diamond version of her, and I don't mean to keep grabbing that part of her body, I swear, but she is sitting on top of what looks like to be the remains of a Sentinel piece. It's a gorgeous piece, and it is PVC, and she now has it up in her office, as well as this Ava 01. This is, I think she said it was something about a lottery, but somebody was actually selling it over there. So, in Japan, you could buy tickets to try to win this lottery for specific figures, making them more exclusive and therefore more expensive. But somebody there had this, and then the, the 06 unit, I think. But this is the Evangelion 01 from the latest incarnation. So, I assume the movie. It's a gorgeous piece. Also PVC. So, she's got both of these in her office now. We got to meet Matt. And this is from Alex, the Hondalorian. This was for me. He knew that I was going to be at the show, and he gave it to his buddy Matt. So this is a print from the Angry Irishman of one of the greatest characters and from the greatest saga of X-Men, the Dark Phoenix. And this is definitely going to go in the background. And again, that's from the Angry Irishman art. Jason Wright. And this looks to be a limited print of 36 out of 50. So thank you all so much. That was one of my favorite experiences at a show, where just having people coming up to me or to Melanie and just saying hello and that they watched the channel. That was so awesome. So this was completely unexpected. This, and of course the statue from Josh. Now, if you're going to go to a convention that has Don Rosa, then you got to go and talk to Don Rosa. Sometimes he does free sketches. I don't think this time around he was doing free sketches. Depends on his schedule. But he did have prints, some new ones that I hadn't seen before. I have seen this one, and this is one that I wanted for our library. Not the library of collected editions, but our actual books. Yeah, I know, believe it or not, I actually used to read books without pictures. This is the one that was for Melanie. This is the new one that I hadn't seen before. I thought it was a really nice piece. Now, this particular print right here is from Charles Vess, one of my favorite artists, and I've always loved his details on buildings and just this old school feel of villages that he's drawn in a lot of his books and comics. So when I saw this print, it was the very last one that he had. It's limited to, I think, 120, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta get it. So this one is one that we're getting framed, and I just love this piece, and I was looking at it on the way home when Melanie was driving. It's just such a gorgeous, detailed piece. There was a place that was selling coffee. It was called Coffee and Comics, so of course we had to go and pick up some. These are the K-Cups, I think. That's the way. Melanie's the coffee drinker. I just drink whatever Yoo-hoo drink she buys me from Starbucks, but I thought that was really cool that they're putting comic pieces into the boxes and labels of Coffee and Comics. I guess when you're going to go with a name like Coffee and Comics, you have to have some pieces. And I think the owners, I believe one of them is an artist too. So that is really cool. Now, Melanie picked up some comics for her classroom. She loves putting comic books and graphic novels in her classroom. As long as kids are reading, and I guess as long as they're not too graphic or anything. You can't put Berserk in there. But she does have like a lot of Marvel comics, a lot of DC comics, a lot of these graphic novels, and a lot of manga in her classroom. And she picked up these two. I think Dark Horse, Dark Horse is the one that was releasing Cuphead, because I know they did the art of Cuphead. I forgot Josh was also nice enough to donate this particular book for one of our giveaways. This is The Sixth Gun, Volume 1. If you've not read it, it's Cullen Bunn. It's freaking excellent. It's a Western with vampires. Solid. Now here's a book I've been wanting to read for a long time. This is from Reed Chancellor, and he happens to be married to Kristen, who has been on our show, Old Reader, New Reader. Wonder Maddie and her have a show on Omnibus Live, and I've wanted to read this since he was... I think it was Omnidog a couple of years ago. He was interviewed, and they were talking about punk rock. And this is a punk rock mental health book. So it's an indie comic that he wrote and drew. And it's one that I've been wanting to read for a while now. And I didn't want to order it through his website because they live in the same state we do. And I always wanted to just buy it from him. So it was really nice to get to meet him and Kristen at this convention. And I got to buy a copy of it. So, very cool. It's in a smaller format than your trade paperbacks. So, it's a little bit smaller like that. So, almost like a tankobon, if you will. And this is Hardcore Anxiety. It's a graphic guide to punk rock and mental health. So, you might learn a little bit about both. So, it's about anxiety and dealing with mental issues, and then how it's intertwined with punk rock. So, excited to read this, and... yeah, finally, it was a pleasure to meet Reed and Kristen. So the beauty of HeroesCon is that it's a huge comic convention, so you get a lot of spotlights on the comic book writers and artists, inkers, letters, editors. There were so many people there. And then the indie hall, where all the indie creators are, is also filled with so many independent creators. So this is Kwame Hightower and the Man with No Name. This is by David Gordon. And I was fortunate enough to talk to him and my buddy Christopher. They were in the same place, same location, and I got to talk to him a little bit about this book and how he's self-publishing it and how he just sells it at conventions. So, love the art style, very reminiscent of manga, and honestly, I want to say it kind of reminded me a little bit of Static Shock. Not the character designs or anything, but... just maybe the main character. So this is what the art looks like. It's another book that's kind of like Reed's Hardcore Anxiety. It's a smaller scale book. I guess what people are now calling the graphic novel type of books. But he was excellent to meet, as well as Kevin Stokes, who worked on this particular book. This is Sasquatch. And this is an ash can. I love these things in the 90s. So this is an ash can of Sasquatch. The artwork is just freaking phenomenal. And I told him, man, hit me up as... That's so awesome. Hit me up as soon as the graphic novel is out or the complete collection is out. Because this looks freaking awesome. And you can download the book too by clicking on this little... or scanning that little QR code. But the art is just so good. It reminds me a lot of Tony... Actually, more of a detailed Tony Moore... like a mix between Tony Moore and Dan Mora, if you will. Loved it, and I love getting to talk to these guys. And what he did have was this book right here. This is Extinction. And this one's written by Steven Nilsson, and it is drawn by Kevin Stokes. So I haven't gotten a chance to read this one, but it is in color, and it looks to be like a zombie story. But I really enjoyed his artwork. Like I said, to me it felt a little bit like Tony Moore, mixed with Dan Mora, but with a lot more details. This one also looks to be violent. Awesome. Looks like I've got a lot of violent books to read. It is a very short book, probably about 48 pages. And that is called Extinction. And it's published by Frozen Beach Studios. It is a Kickstarter exclusive, the Kevin Stokes black and white variant. So, of course, I had to go and talk to Ed Pisker. He was there with Jim Rugg, and they were selling books. They were selling their own published books. He got to sign it for me. And this is Red Room, a book that I was waiting for a hardcover, but I was like, oh man, Ed Pisker's here. I'm going to go talk to him for a little bit and talk about, a lot of my viewers watch his YouTube channel. So I had to tell him that. He was wearing a mask, which a lot of creators were, and I had to take mine off to kind of talk to him too. And I was telling him, hey, you know, we should do a show together, which he was really cool about. He was just, yeah, shoot me an email. But it was a little difficult to talk to some creators at times because there were so many people waiting for them, and I didn't want to take up all his time. So apparently this one here is very gory. I know very little about it. I was told it's kind of like a Tromaville movie, so you had me at that. And I've seen some of the interior artwork, some of the torture scenes, and it looks pretty gory. Now, I don't know if it's gory for the sake of just being gory, or if there's a deep story in there. I haven't gotten around to reading it, any of this yet. But it definitely has this independent feel to it. But, yeah, over-the-top kind of horror, grotesque stuff in here. Sorry, I was taken back a little bit by that. That is a very detailed picture I had to pass. Okay, but this is Red Room. The very first one is available. The very first volume is available, published by Fantagraphics. It is $22.99. I don't know if there's going to be a hardcover. I'm pretty sure Ed Piskor also is a fan of collected editions, so I'm sure they'll do a hardcover eventually. Even though it's the home of collected editions, my wife, the Astonishing Melanie, loves buying single issues at every convention we go to. Now, the deal is I tell her to wait till the last day so you can get some good deals, and I hope to God she did not pay $6 for Alf. But yeah, she actually bought some Alf comics because one day she wants to custom bind them, which she is nuts. But she also bought some Amazing Spider-Man stuff. I believe now we're looking at the... This I think is an early Leonardi, if I'm not mistaken, Tom DeFalco era. There's the Amazing Spider-Man, Ramita on the cover, 145 and 146. And then since we got to talk to Mark Bagley and I got to interview him, she wanted something signed by him, but she didn't have any of her single issues, so she went and bought this one because Electro is her favorite Spider-Man villain, so she got that one signed by him. Now, one of my favorite things to do at conventions is look around for cheap trade paperbacks or hardcovers, things that have been out of print for a long time or things that, you know, nobody else wants. And of course, this is Joe Quesada and Jimmy Palmiotti's Ash. You know how hard it was to find Ash #1 when I was in high school? It was one of the biggest, to me at a comic book store, I saw the poster, I saw the cover, and immediately I wanted it. I saw it in an advertisement. And it wasn't published by Marvel. It wasn't published by DC. It wasn't published by Image. So I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to find that book? So it's pretty much about a firefighter that becomes a superhero. I haven't read this, oh my gosh, since it was published in single issues. And I honestly didn't think there was a trade paperback, but apparently there was. So this has beautiful artwork by Joe Quesada, inks by Jimmy Palmiotti. And it's about the character of Ash. And I remember being blown away by the colors when this was coming out in single issues. I knew that were computer generated or computer separated colors, but still so freaking awesome. And I was glad to find this. So, when I mean obscure and trade paperbacks that people don't want, it's usually sitting in a box, so you're going to have to look really hard for these things. This was sitting in a box underneath a bunch of tables, and the tables had some expensive comics, and I saw the box just had a dollar sticker on it. So I asked, hey, are these $1? And he was like, yeah, whatever. I don't think he even knew the box was down there. So I got some trade paperbacks, books that I was missing. So I got that, and I got District X. And this is a short-lived series, but an excellent series nonetheless. And I think when it came to House of M, this became Mutopia, I believe. Mutopia X, maybe is what the title became. It is written by David Hine. And actually, David Yarden does the artwork here. Lan Medina doing the artwork in the second volume. Now, David Hine comes from the world of Spawn, but he had written some noir stories too, crime noir stories. And this focuses mainly on Bishop trying to solve crimes in Mutant Town. So Morrison created this idea of Mutant Town when they were writing New X-Men. And this is all about how Bishop, this is before, of course, Complex Messiah Saga, before he went a little nuts and still don't like what they did to my boy. But anyway, there were only 2 volumes available, so I was like, oh yeah, gotta get those. This one here featuring, I think this is the first appearance of Mr. M. Character that looks like Freddy Krueger, not Mr. Krueger. And also Counter X. This is the last part of X-Man. X-Man has been poorly collected. There is a X-Man Classic, Volume 1. There's The Man Who Fell from to Earth, which is considered kind of like a Volume 2. This is a character that first appeared in the pages of Age of Apocalypse. And unless it's got a crossover that's collected in an oversized hardcover, like the X-Men vs. Apocalypse of 12, things like that, nothing from this particular comic has really been collected outside of those first few trades and then the last couple of trades. This is written by Warren Ellis and it is drawn by Ariel Olivetti, and Stephen Grant does help out, but this is when he becomes a shaman. I mean, it's like they hired Ellis to do these weird things to these characters in X-Force and Cable. Well, Cable was doing his own, he was going through his own changes as well as Deadpool, but definitely X-Man. And then Generation X went through the whole thing too, what was called the Counter X, where they were just canceling titles and either characters were getting killed off or they were just changing and they were kind of shoehorning them into other titles. Jim Starlin was set up over there and I got to talk to him for a little bit and we're trying to work out an interview to do through StreamYard. But here is the Dreadstar Returns. This is the follow-up to the box set. Now he's going through Omnibus Press to get this printed. And there's signature right there. Jim Starlin, really nice guy. Continuing the adventures of Vanth Dreadstar and all the characters that you met in those first 3 Omnibus editions, the slipcase edition that came out. I think I did an overview of it back in 2020, but this is the follow-up series that he's writing and drawing. And I can't flip too much through here because I have not read any of this. So it's good to see him back working on this character and publishing it himself. Or, I'm sorry, with Omnibus Press. Jameson is doing the inks now. So it's not Starlin inking his own stuff. Whoa, that's really cool. Very nice. But this is a hardcover, but it's also a standard size hardcover. Now, the other thing that I keep an eye out on when I go to conventions are people that just have a collage of just different things. They have toys, they have video games, and they may have 1 or 2 books. Usually, if they have 1 or 2 books, they either don't know what they're selling or they're selling it on the cheap, or sometimes it's the other way around. They're selling it really high. But this is a book I've been wanting and I completely forgot about until I saw it at this table. This table, all they had was video games. And they had a couple of single issues of Street Fighter, and then they had this. This is published by Udon Studios right here, and it's just called Vent. So this is something that I've been wanting to read, to look at, but honestly, I just kept forgetting about it. So what this is this is a not a collaboration, but it's more like an anthology of just comics and pinups and sketches from the different creators that work at Udon. And it's their own personal stories, so you're not going to find things in here about Street Fighter or characters from Capcom. I mean, you will see some of them appear through here. But it's mainly their own creator-owned stuff, their own stories, and I've been wanting to read it ever since I knew it was out. I thought it was a hardcover, but this is a softcover. But when they were selling it for $5, and I don't know if you know how I do at cons or not, I always try to haggle no matter what. But at $5, I was like, oh yeah, $5 sounds good. So I had to get it. I mean, it's a book that's well over 240 pages. There's the cover right there. And I think it retails for $29.99 if I'm not mistaken. The original printing does. This is the 10th anniversary of Udon Entertainment. And this is how they celebrate it. $39.99, I'm sorry. But to a lot of us, this is considered an art book, but it does have some sequential art in here. But it's just stuff that hasn't been collected in any of the other art books. And yeah, $5. Couldn't pass up on it. Now, one of my wife's favorite books is Beowulf. Now, we went to Gem City Books. They're the ones that have the liquidated prices, the discounted books. This one, I believe, was only $10. It's a retail price of $19.99. So they're usually, about half off. But they do have, remainder marks on them. And this is a graphic novel by Santiago Garcia and David Rubin. Oh, David Rubin. And it's published by Image Comics. And since this is one of her favorite books, she wanted to get the graphic novel. And I think, she's excited to read Grendel for the first time now. I told her Grendel's not the graphic novel based on Grindel. But anyway, yes, this is Beowulf. Damn, David Rubin's artwork is kicking ass in this. So you are going to see a lot of butt shots in here, a lot of freaking violence. I don't think I've seen any frontal nudity. But in the book, he does fight naked. I can only imagine that it might have it. I don't know. I did see some butt shots. But anyway, this is the graphic novel of Beowulf with freaking gorgeous artwork here. It is oversized, though, too. Like, this is what it looks like compared to a standard size trade paperback. So it is a big book. And even at retail price of $19.99, that's a heck of a deal. It is a soft cover, though. Let me see if there's anything extra. No extras in the back. No sketches from David Rubin or anything. Now, David Rubin also worked on that Hero book from Dark Horse, so I guess it shouldn't surprise me that he did an adaptation of Beowulf. Alright, let's see how well I did. This is the Hellstorm Omnibus. This is the one by Warren Ellis. I also bought this from Gem City Books. They had it for $30. It was marked down. The retail price is $75. Explicit content. So, like I said, usually they have discounted books because they buy them through... Well, there's these secret places where retailers can go and buy bulk, liquidated bulk. Used to be Diamond used to have a huge sale once or twice a year. But now that we have different distributors, I don't know how that sale goes anymore. But yeah, this is sealed $30. I don't see any remainder marks on it. So let's see how bad or good I did if it's all warped to hell inside. Let's open it up. Out of its plastic, always the fun part. Alright. Now normally, let's see, open it up. Make sure to stretch the spine. This is a pretty thin book though. I don't think it even made it up to 400 pages. Because it just collects the Warren Ellis stuff. And I think this stuff was once supposed to be in trade paperback. But then it never made it into the solicitations or the catalog. So I don't know if it ever got around to it. By the way, if you don't want to be spoiled whenever stretching a spine, turn it upside down. Even though I'm pretty sure your brain can decipher this. Alright, I'm going to edit some so I can do this without you all having to watch me stretch the spine, because that kind of gets ridiculous. You just want to see the artwork. Alright, spine is stretched. So this collects the Hellstorm Prince of Lies, issues 12 through 21. The issues that came before this, issues 1 through 11, were collected in this trade paperback right there, Hellstorm Prince of Lies. Even though they changed his name to Hellstorm, it still collects Hellstorm Prince of Lies 1 through 11. So this is the stuff that came before this particular book. That was all written by Rafael Neves. So here you have the artwork of Leonardo Manco. Later on, you do have Peter Gross drawing a lot of the stuff in here, and Derek Yeniger, as well as Martin Chaplin. And this also collects issues of Druid 1 through 4. So it kind of wraps up the Hellstorm story that Warren Ellis got to write. I remember reading these when they were coming out in single issue format, and I never got around to rereading them. And I don't know why I didn't get the omnibus. Retail of this was $75. I'm surprised I never jumped on it when it came out. Maybe it's one of those books that I didn't get it when it came out, and then I completely forgot about it. And I honestly forgot about its existence until I saw it at the show. I saw the spine, and I was like, hey, oh, that's right, there was that book. I don't know if they're ever going to reprint this, because of all the allegations against Warren Ellis that you can look up for yourself, or if they're ever going to give us an oversized hardcover of this particular series before this one. So I figured just play it safe and get it this way, because I was going to wait for the trade paperback, but the trade paperback never came out. But this is the Prince of Lies, the final issues of this, with wonderful artwork by Leonardo Manco. I remember him doing a lot of the first stuff. Very Vertigo type of story, too, with very Vertigo type of artists, especially when you have Peter Gross in there, who, of course, did a lot of the Books of Magic stories, and some of Lucifer. There are extras in the back, like original art pages, and the color guides back here. And honestly, I don't see anything wrong with the book. So maybe I just lucked out. And that, as they say, is that. Now, you don't have to go to cons to pick up books like this, you can check out our sponsors. CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know near mint condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. If you live in Europe and are interested in pre-ordering or purchasing Omnis, then you should definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices for Marvel and DC big books within the EU. Flat shipping of €9.90 for EU countries, extremely careful and sturdy packaging, emails are answered within 24 hours, and they have a superb selection of new releases and out-of-print books on their website. Just head over to waltscomicshop.com for more great deals and rare titles, and for a limited time, you can use the code NEARMINTCONDITION, all one word, at the checkout for free shipping to all EU countries with your first order. Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for Omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. And that was it. That was our haul of prints and trade paperbacks, omnibus, statues, coffee. Let us know in the comments down below what are some of your favorite things to buy at conventions, whether they're original artwork, whether they're single issue comics, a single issue you've been looking for a long time, or just cheap books. This was the Uncanny Omar. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications to let you know when our videos are going live. We are on Spreadshop and Patreon. Amazing ways to support the channel if you can do so. More importantly, everyone, stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.